Hi, it's Dave, the imperfect individual, on this absolutely stunning early winter morning in December. Flip the camera around. Here you go. The horse is happily grazing away. The trees stripped bare of leaves, but still looking very imposing. And just add into the landscape. Let's go and see this horse here very briefly before I start talking about today's topic, which is surrender. Not the cowardly type of surrender, but the affirmative, enlightened type of surrender, emotional surrender, really. Hello, horse. Which isn't a type of surrender that I'm no means I'm continuing my own path to whatever spiritual enlightenment I can find. So I'll talk about that in a minute. I just wanted to say, first of all, though, real heartfelt thanks to all my subscribers or anyone who contributes on this channel, particularly people who take the time to watch and then comment, because it really helps me. I did a video the other day. Just slow down a bit here, the old knee. I did a video the other day about sleepwalking into this global technocratic digital biosurveillance state. I've not really changed my mind in 2 days on that. It's just how I see it happening. I've not really changed my mind, and I also talked about, but I want to come back to how I've changed the way I look at it in a minute. I also talked about how I was struggling to cope and process the continuing, cowardice and apathy and intellectual absence and dearth of morality that I see in the general public, which frustrates and angers me. So, and again, I'm not going to say in 2 days I've changed my mind on that, but what I did do with that video is I offered people the opportunity to be able to help change my perspective, really, because for the reason that I know that with this channel it's only small, but I think it's really worthwhile. I get so much out of it. Some of the comments that I read are so uplifting. They help me to understand where I am in my life, to help me understand what's going on in the world. Sometimes, even though the reality of the situation, the way I logically look at it, what other people say might not necessarily change how I have evaluated the situation. It helps me maybe better understand it, to maybe change the angle, change the perspective, pin some symbolism to it, or some historical precedent, or some biblical explanations. And in doing that, it gives me a sense of that meaning that sometimes threatens to leach away from me. That pursuit and that sense of meaning and that longing for meaning comes back, and that strength that I know I do have I am, no matter how many times I get knocked down, I'll always get back up. But there are times when I don't necessarily enjoy my life. So I wanted to say thanks, because I can't tell you how helpful it is for people to take the time to help me like that. I try to help others on this channel, albeit I know that I've probably been quite negative a lot of the time in the last year. I just honestly try and communicate the way I feel. But I wanted to say, first of all, thanks, because there is always another day. Well, until we croak it, and then we don't know what happens then, do we? Hopefully we go to a good place. But there is always another day. There is always an opportunity to see things different. There is always a chance to collect our thoughts and to go again. And that's so important. So that's why today I want to do a video about the art of surrender, an art which I have not mastered, by the way, but which I understand is very, very is very, very important for me. to be able to try to master that, or to tap into the art of surrender. So, like, you know, what is the art of surrender? I'll just talk first of all. You know, I think I see things quite clearly. I think I see the big picture. I think I understand enough concepts to a great enough degree to be able to form opinions and to elucidate them, and to kind of understand what's going on in the world, how that maybe links back to human behaviour, human psyche, human history, how technology fits into that, things like power dynamics, human nature, all this kind of socio-political input and all this kind of thing. But sometimes seeing things clearly, you can get in your own head too much, and I do. And it's at that point then that, you know, the art of surrender becomes paramount. So again, what is it? Well, it's not surrender as in give up. It's not that kind of surrender, because, you know, just something I want to say really. I don't know whether I communicated it on the last video, but no matter how bad, no matter how dark things get in this world, I'd never get on my knees for anyone. I'd never submit. I'd never give up. You know, I'd die fighting on my feet. I would. You know, so the problem that we may have in the world is a lot of people maybe have surrendered. Surrendered their thinking, surrendered their morals, surrendered their values, if they ever had any. Well, that's not me. But on the flip side, I'm probably also not good, or certainly not recently, at the art of enlightened surrender, or of empowering surrender, which is kind of what I'm doing actually now, really. I mean, let's just flip this round again, just give you... It's good that I can do this with my new phone now, and I think the sound quality is better as well. If you think the sound quality is better, please do let me know. It's one of my favourite walks. I've not been on it much recently because of the knee. I've got the surgery booked in for the 23rd of December now, which is a pain in the arse. But the last couple of weeks the knee's not quite as bad, so I need sorting, but at least I can walk a little bit further. But talk about surrender, well, part of like the art of surrender is allowing yourself the opportunity to enjoy your life by doing the things that you know are good for you and not feeling guilty about it. And to feel enlightened, I think, and more spiritual. We could spend the rest of your life talking about what spiritualism is, really. But to feel wholesome is to get out in nature, you know? Is to return to introspection, which is what I'm trying to do on this video, without beating yourself up, which is to show gratitude, which I think is what I'm doing on this video with regard to my YouTube subscribers and the amazing people that I do have in my life, who are brave, intelligent, altruistic people. Gratitude, introspection, wholesomeness, appreciation, immersion in what God has given us, you know. I love coming out into nature, and it always makes me feel better. You know, and there's a reason for that, isn't it? Nature doesn't cast any judgment on you, and it always shows its beauty, no matter what time of the year. So the art of surrender, it's the acceptance of, you know, the serenity prayer, isn't it? About the wisdom to know the difference between what you can change and what you can't. And sometimes a lot of the time, probably all of the time, I've got that out of kilter. And I know that my energies are wasted a lot of the time, even though I'm aware of these concepts and the importance of them, which is why I'm talking now. So the art of surrender, the art of actually giving yourself permission to say, I am doing enough for other people, but I'm not doing enough for myself, because I'm not, and I haven't for a long time. It's almost like I've forgotten how to do that, really. But this is helping. The art of being able to say, I am enough, I have done enough. Also, yeah, there is only so much, I think, as well, to be able to let go of any longing for helping those who really do not deserve our help, and saving it for the people who do, which in the main are the children, aren't they? And that is the biggest motivating factor for me, even though I don't have kids. And I've talked about how I'm utterly shocked at parents and how they've allowed their children to be treated. So surrender, not surrendering to tyranny, not surrendering through a lack of will, not surrendering to psychopathic orders, not surrendering because I feel tired, nothing like that, but surrendering to the world as it is at the moment, and remembering that there's a balance to be struck, isn't there? This is the other thing I wanted to talk about. I think people fall into different camps, because there's some who in the last 3 years have kind of like been, we can meditate our way through this law of attraction. I actually write about the law of attraction in my book, and it is an important concept. But and then there's others who've been really, really, really angry, and I've kind of like sat in the middle. I've understood the need to, what I talked about today, the spiritual side of things, and be the change you want to see in the world and all that. But I've also thought, no, there needs to be an anger, because that gives energy and passion, and it's a righteous anger as well. And without anger, we can't make the change. But maybe I've slipped. No, not maybe. I have become probably more guided by the anger for the reasons that I've outlined in many, many videos. And my anger, unlike many, I notice many people, probably most people like me, direct their anger up to the politicians, the scientists, the heads of tech and big pharma cartels, the prominent players in the World Health Organization, World Economic Forum, United Nations and all that. Yeah, I'm obviously angry with them, but my anger's, I've always looked at it from a different view. I've always looked at it from, well, these people would be completely inconsequential. They'd be behind bars, or they'd be hanging from the gallows if you, all of you, just did what you know to be the right thing to do and stop doing these unconscionable things. That's what my anger's been about. Not being able to have the most basic conversation, the lack of respect shown, the lack of acknowledgement, the lack of engagement, the lack of morals, the lack of defence of human rights, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, bodily autonomy. Because it's the masses' apathy that have enabled this, not the psychopaths' orders. Because what they've done is order. It's come up with the plan, and they've ordered the stooges to do it for them. And the stooges are the general public. And I sometimes wish that people would understand that more, but that's just the way I see it more, that we need to put the pressure on our friends, family, colleagues. Anyway, so that explains what my anger is. But in embroiling myself in that too much, I'm not surrendering, but I'm giving myself away. I'm giving my power away. And I'm not perfect, the imperfect individual. None of us are. I will continue to feel that way because it's real for me, as it is for a lot of us. But the reason I'm doing this video is because I've been inspired, as I say, by comments that on my previous YouTube channel that have kind of made me step back and go, right, okay, stop looking at this so logically and through the prism of anger, and look at it through and feel it, or look at it through a soulful, introspective, wholesome, perspective, and try and tap into these other ideas and concepts and ways of living and ways of being that I've written about in my book, So there's a real balance to be struck. Some people have got it nailed on. I know people who've got it really, really, really good balance now between seeing the bigger picture, not standing for any of it, but enjoying their lives, and it's because they've given themselves permission to do that, really. And I've done enough, I am enough we're all enough. Just show you another view. And we need to remember that, and I need to remember that. Thanks again. The Art of Surrender, which I have a long way to go in. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed the scenery. Please do leave me a comment if there's anything that you'd like to add. And thanks again. And I'll be back soon with another video. Okay, bye bye.